My name is Shava. I'm a fine artist from Johannesburg, South Africa. I began my creative journey at the young age of 9, and I'm currently 25 years old. I'm a neo-expressionist, and I like to describe myself as a painter, not just an artist, because everybody's an artist. I'm pretty hardcore about the way that I live my life and the way I paint my paintings, and it's really important to me. It kind of has been the main medium I've facilitated and accredited my growth to. Yeah, that's who I am, guys. When I started working in Maboneng, like after college, the curator at the gallery that I was showing at, it was Gallery Fanon at that time. She called me Baby Basquiat. I think like it was just a resemblance of the style. And it's because Basquiat is probably the most prolific, or if not prolific, he's the most famous Black artist that has ever lived. And obviously him being a part of that same art movement, like everything becomes like Basquiatized in a way. And I won't lie, like I think it's fucking great because like he really was a polarizing figure. He really was. You should want to be inspired by Basquiat. Like you should want to be called Baby Basquiat. And it took a lot of time for me to kind of find myself from that. Like, because there was a very long time where it was really cool, where I really kind of enjoyed it. And then it kind of starts being more like, you know, when you start making more money and you sold out a couple of shows, like now, like they're not saying it really as a compliment. You know, it's like, oh no, that's a kid that bites Basquiat style or whatever. So I had to really find myself, and again, it's just criticism, and most of the time criticism like breaks people. I looked at it as just that, and I kind of like honed in on why do I paint this way? What's my process? And kind of tried to define it and personalize it more to myself. I hardly get the Basquiat comments anymore, so I guess it kind of worked as well. Yeah. My mom never wanted me to be an artist, but my mom owns an art gallery called Arts Unlimited in East London. She's like this grody, like pinch face, like Eastern European. She's Polish. So I was adopted, and that's how my creative journey kind of began. It was being in the space where there were just a lot of artists always around, and art was like spoken like favorably in my household. I actually remember how my mom would treat artists versus like normal people, you know, like whenever an artist would come over, and this is her bread and butter as well, you know, she'd be like, oh no, Ryan, like bring out the nice forks, you know, kind of thing, like, or go make a cup of tea. And nobody ever left the house with getting a cup of tea from my mom, except if it was an artist. So I kind of grew up with that sense of like, I want to be like that. That's exactly what I want to be. I don't remember ever wanting to be anything else, kind of thing. So my career began really, really young, and there really wasn't any like pity partying going on in my upbringing, especially with regards to art, especially my own art. Like it wasn't, you know, you do a drawing in school, you come back home, you stick it on the fridge, like you just get told it sucked if it sucked. And if it was good, it would get framed. So there was that whole thing of like, where people start thinking like art is this like cheap commodity that everybody can do. It starts from their childhood of being like, oh no, every single thing that I ever brought home was on the fucking fridge. You know, like it wasn't like that. It was something that I really took seriously. Like when my mom would be like, actually Ryan, like we're framing this one. You know, this is serious, you know, and at my school shows, like, you know, you'll have the end of year shows and stuff, like some of my artworks would even sell. So it was that serious for me. Like I started from a very young age, like understanding like this can be a means of not only survival but like sustaining life. Like, so I depended on my art a lot growing up to kind of fit in, or even like I didn't even really flirt in school. Like, I'll just kind of draw the girls that I liked. Like I certainly put a very high emphasis on like building my identity around the fact that I was a painter. And I wasn't like some genius kid that like every single thing that I painted was gold, but I was certainly better than all the other kids. So, you know, at least to the girl that I was flirting with, it was always amazing. It never failed, actually. So yeah, that's that. That was my upbringing. My work has always been deeply rooted in a sense of rebellion. I started off like just being a street artist, and I just wanted everybody to see it. And most of the time, because my work is purely portrait based, I mean, sometimes I make landscapes, but most of my work that sells really well are portrait artworks. They're very dependent on like people and human interactions. I think being able to not only take a person and represent them in a way that you felt and authentically understood them, which, I mean, to me is just as good as an objective truth, right? You also, like, I also always felt like I'm carrying this responsibility to actually make my work meaningful. So sometimes, you know, you're just making meaning out of random shit that don't even deserve meaning. You know, now the lamp has got a face on it and it's got an expression. You know, like, there's definitely a wrong way to do it, and I've fallen victim to that a lot, but I think it's a pursuit of that. It's a triumph of like human resilience, actually. You know, you'll get a subject matter that's particularly sad or horrid, and just being able to transform it with color that another person wouldn't be able to recognize the true tragedy that like lay before them. I've always been fascinated, and I've always wanted my work to bear that truth, but in a very like fantastical way. I think a lot of my figures, even in the most tragic artworks, still hold that quirky like smile of, you know, like this could be a happy painting, but you just don't get it. You know how like cocky people in galleries be, you know, like, oh no, this is actually so tragic, you just don't get it. You know, but it's just a banana taped to a wall or something crazy. Like, you just, yeah, like, you know, it's not actually pretty, man, because the way the light connects with the nigga, shut, get out of here. Like, you know, get out of here. So I've went out looking for the fantasies within my work. Like, I make the fairy tales. Most of the stuff is just real. I go and I'm the one that adds a spice. You know, it would have just been rice, but you know, I put over some chicken and I added it there. And I think that's what makes these paintings so special. That piece is part of a collaboration I did last year with a photographer. His name's Arthur Clemini. We screened each individual photograph, kind of like how Andy Warhol would have created the Marilyns and the Elvis Presley screen prints. Yeah. And yeah, it's monochromatic, so we literally needed to just make 2 screens. But after I began painting, I started like imagining these stories of these characters, and we met every single person we painted. That's actually another difference to Andy Warhol's collection, to this one. Like, I actually know the guy. And that piece is called of Gangsters, Mobsters, and Drug Dealers. He's such a nice guy. He's really not all of those things. I gave him the little horns, and that's just one example of how I'll like go out of my way to find the fantasies in my work. Or like, if it's not there, I'll just make it up. I think the work can stand for itself. I think that's all that needs to be. I don't think I would need to say anything else. I think the work itself can create the same way I created the fantasies within it. It can create fantasies within other people just by itself, you know. So yeah, I guess I'll probably just say nothing. I'll just leave it. Oh, here guys, I just lived through my whole fucking life right here. So yeah, that's it.